I have that many bosses. They should have access to me. This is how we're starting to demonstrate that. So I've got two cameras here because we're going over Zoom and we're going over live stream. And so I'll look back and forth. Bottom line, let's just do introductions. I'm retired Navy Commander Jay Furman. I'm also a conservative Republican running for Congressional District 35 here in South Texas. And in doing so, I'm answering a call to defend our nation once again from our near approach. Spent most of my career overseas fighting these kind of color revolutions, came home to find our border kicked down and the enemies I was keeping away and many others, and probably folks on this call, were doing an end around through our southern Texas border and others. So can't have that. None of us can have that. And I've started to shout that clarion call ever since I was a vaccine mandate whistleblower at the end of my naval career, right at the end of 2021. And then they saw fit to have me retire very quickly after I went on Tucker Carlson to say those kinds of things. Went to the border, was appalled as said, and figured out we have to fix this at the source, the leaky part of the ship that is the U.S. Congress. It's a train wreck that we have to get back on the rails and support the president before we run out of time. This football game, as it were, appropriate metaphor for Sunday, is just at kickoff to save the nation. I like to say that President Trump caught the football November 5th, 2024, but we've got only enough time to score on this first possession. So each of us have to figure out how we get wedge up the middle around the president so we can get him across the line of scrimmage, get all of us across the line of scrimmage. That's why I'm in this fight. That's why we are going to just be as transparent as absolutely possible. The point and purpose of this daily 4 p.m. Commander's Mission Brief is first to do an introduction of myself, talk quickly about the hottest topic of the day, and then field questions from the field. Anybody that dials in can raise their hand and ask questions in a town hall format. We'll do that briefly since we're doing it every day. And then we will talk to our volunteers. We'll do a call to action, and for volunteers to step up to help join me saving the nation and get involved in the Texas 35 fight as well. And then we will give you next steps on how to specifically get involved. We'll do that every day. It'll be about a 15-minute meeting. We're not going to take a lot of time. It's a touch point every day for folks to come back and from doing volunteer activities, from whatever they're doing in the district, and we answer your questions. And then we move out. We move out towards March 3rd, which is the midterms, arguably the most important midterms of our lifetimes. And that midterm will determine what sort of blocking, if you extend the metaphor, the president will have into his last 2 years. If we don't figure this out, we will slide back into another set of Biden years, and the establishment will increase the swamp levels. We can't have that. This is a 1776 stand from Texas 35. Call it the line in the sand. This is our Alamo, and we're not going to hold back. So with that, biggest issue of the day, besides who plays the halftime show, and God bless TPUSA for cutting the fanship in half of the un-American NFL halftime show. And you know, besides that wonderful, good piece of news, and really testament to Charlie Kirk, his legacy, his martyrdom, we have so much else to talk about. We have DHS funding that we have to talk about. We have lots of other churn at the national level to talk about. There's even local politics we can talk about. You know, it's incredible to me that you know, before X and before really the explosion of us figuring out that there was a curtain in front of reality, and that really happened during COVID. And my eyes were opened when the vaccine mandate came down, and I thought, oh my goodness, this organization is actually part of the problem under its past leadership. So thank God we can have these conversations. We have forums like X and whatnot. So, with that, there's so much I'd like to take from the field. What someone would like to talk about.
So we have a couple comments. For all the viewers out there, I'm Rachel. Some of you probably know me. Some of you don't. I help with Jay's campaign. I help get conservatives elected, to conservatives representing us, and that's what we need more of. So I just want to say thank you to everybody that's here. We obviously have viewers from both. We've got them live on Zoom and we've got them live on social media. So do us a favor and let us know where you guys are tuning in from. I see we have some Texas viewers, and it looks like we have some people from down south. Just curious, let us know your name and let us know where you're watching from. We do have a couple comments already, so I'm going to let Jay kind of take some of those from Steve. Steve is saying he was down on the border and he watched the Border Patrol facilitate the invasion while most of our reps called them heroes.
Yep.
So I don't know if you want to take time to address some of those comments or if you want to move on with our.
Well, yeah, since the introduction was kind of long today, let's skip to my current events. I think we're all tracking them, and we'll talk more about that and get a juicy one to talk about tomorrow. Main point of this is to have the town hall and then to have a quick volunteer roundup to take care of our business like that. So, all right, on the border, yes, Steve, I was on the border too. God bless you for being down there. It was tough. You're talking about a border patrol that had a bad boss, and so in that the border patrol was given orders to basically ignore immigration law. And some of them tried to stand up against it, and that was a real buzzsaw for them, and they got ushered out quickly. Others just got by while holding their nose. The suicide rate of the Border Patrol during the Biden era was atrocious, and that's something that's not talked about enough. Rivaled the military one, and because they basically had to lay down and let the really the moat into our country be crossed, literally. And so those guys are back under good leadership again, and the morale of the Border Patrol is as it hasn't been in a long time. My friends of the Border Patrol are excited about doing their job. It is a trickle now. There are people coming through still. It's the wall's not done, the water barrier is not done, but it is literally a trickle. There are still drugs coming across. Mainly that's an air war. So friends tell me that, and we observed it, that there are drones carrying packages, fentanyl packages and the like, and those are really hard to defeat. We're working on that as well. And then they're also using the sea lanes more so. Less now since President Trump started blowing boats out of the water, God bless him, and the U.S. Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Coast Guard that are all involved in that action, DEA as well. So I tell you what, the game has changed down on the border, and we've got to hold that line. But that's really not the biggest call to action right now. The biggest call to action is mass deportation because the enemies are among us. So in that 25 million that came in, many wolves in sheep's clothing came in and hid among them. Who wouldn't? If you're the enemy of America, you would have infiltrated in that open invitation by Biden to come in here, lay low until the moment's right. And mind you, they're doing that now with the Homeland and amazing technology partners that they have. They are rounding up a lot of these folks. Tough to do that in the Democrat blue cities. And we're, our nation's leaders, the administration are working on trying to, defund sanctuary cities and the like. That has to happen beyond executive order. That is why I'm going up there. We have to codify President Trump's executive orders, what he's doing to make it stick for the second 2 years, and then to show the American people that conservative values and no kidding hardline MAGA policy stance is the most profitable, the most free, the most safe for our nation. And that's everybody, no matter what your politics are, no matter what color hair you have. We can demonstrate that in 2 years. We just need a little more runway to do it. But we got to get across the midterms right now in order to be able to do that. And so hence this sprint of the last election, I ran against Henry Cuellar in CD 28. For those of you who don't know that, that's basically a large portion, more than half of what the current new redistrict 35 is. And to express what 35 is, that's South Bexar County, South and East, and then Guadalupe County, Wilson County, and Karnes County in total. it makes sense. It was redistricted from a really gerrymandered previous CD 35. But so I've run in this spot before. I ran right at a 22-year incumbent crook, Henry Cuellar, and so we pivoted because I live here in 35. I believe, like the founders believed, you should represent those that you live next to. More questions?
Steve is saying that soccer moms are afraid to travel to grocery stores because of the self-proclaimed heroes on every street and highway waiting to pounce on residents for paychecks and pensions.
Yeah, those heroes, huh? So, that's the problem. We have a presumption of public safety that depends on most people following the law. Our first responders, God bless them, our first responder public safety system is not ready for the criminals that came into our country who came from places that if you have anything to protect or you have any sort of, the only protection is your own with high walls and embedded glass at the top. So, if you can't do that here, then we're kind of out of luck. And really, I've been saying for a long time, it only takes, a dozen guys with a big lighter to go around, say, San Antonio, light a bunch of fires, suck the first responders out, and then no one's there when you call in time, and the criminals know that reaction time is diminished because, God bless our first responders, there's not enough of them.
We have a question from Tim Coffey. A great question, Tim. Thank you for that. Yes, there are several other candidates in this race, but he says John Lujan, of course, is, probably, if you want to address that question from him.
Yeah, I can talk about John. John voted to impeach A.G. Paxton. I can talk about how John has the second worst voting record in the Texas legislature. John's a friend of mine, but our politics are different. So if you're making a choice between me and John Lujan, and I don't care who hears this, you're making a choice between the rhino-type Democrat that got us into the Biden years, that didn't push a credible defense, a conservative defense to the progressivism. It's not even Democrats. It's not even liberals. It's full on, socialist progressivism that really is, communism with lipstick. Those guys are now enabling the weak part of the Republican Party to get in. And it only takes, look, the numbers work out. All the Democrats vote in a block all the time. Call it blue block. They vote together, and then they get enough rhinos to vote with them, and then the conservatives are on their heels. We just don't have the math to push back against it. So if you're that kind of Republican, I blame you most because you're the reason that we got in this mess in the beginning. Again, John's a friend. I like John. Our politics are very different. We have a different world view on things. We're really fighting for our lives here. I served all over the country in some of the worst places, Africa, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and I saw these things happen in real time. We're in the fast phase right now. We were screeching towards the fast phase before President Trump got elected, but now we've got to pull back from the cliff as far as transformational change. Our country is under attack. It's a war. Make no mistake. We are in a hybrid warfare. Go read the national security strategy that's just released. They talk about this a lot. We are at war, and unfortunately, the enemy combatants are inside our country. And China, as we're learning, is manipulating these groups and got a bunch of useful idiots, Americans, and then the economic system is really an ecosystem of finances. And so if our enemies and people that are not so pro-American can incentivize our elected officials, and we can talk about the elected part in a second, then really they're just feeding self-interest, and they're not feeding the American greater interest. We have one chance, that's to follow the president out of this mess and all get around him as a party. That's the only thing I say we model after the Democrats is we start all voting together and get the 80% right. That's get the bad guys out. That is protect the US dollar, and that is stop the crazy attack on our children.
Guys, I want to remind you, everybody can go check out the website at commanderfurman.com. We have ways to sign up. We have a lot of people asking how they can help. There's several ways. You can phone bank, you can block walk, you can you knock on doors, you can share our message, you can share the live right now. That's a great way. Costs nothing, and the results are exponential with that. Jay, you should probably tell people about the amazing endorsement that you just got. Speaking to your question, Tim, which again is a great question. I think we can kind of juxtapose the iVoter guide with the endorsement from General Flynn and talk about that, like what true conservatism actually is, because the next generation wants to know that. We're educating our voters and educating people who haven't voted yet is part of our civic duty. And a lot of people just don't know, what the principles or what alignment of true conservatives really looks like.
100%, Rachel, absolutely. And we're going to get to some of these questions maybe next time. Keep them coming. And let me just give a little preview. At the end of this, we're going to talk about how we can get involved. Everybody on this call and everybody, we got some really cool ways to everybody put some strain on the line, as we say in the Navy, and pull hard to save our country. And we're going to get to that in just a second. So Rachel talked about, I am extremely humbled and honored to receive General Flynn's endorsement. General Flynn, National Security Advisor, Special Advisor to President Trump now. He was in the fight and took some of the biggest body blows anybody has. Right at the very first, he was one of the first victims of the Obama conspiracy to take down President Trump and the Clinton one. And so he has just endorsed me. That follows Rudy Giuliani, Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who the same, and Roger Stone, Peter Tickett. These are the bulldogs of President Trump's movement. These are the real fighters, not the fake ones, not the people that scream America first, but then in the back doors, make deals against the American public. So I'm honored to have those type of endorsements. Those are exactly the people I want to model in Congress when I go up there to play protect on the president's agenda and the leadership who is marching lockstep with the president right now. And like I said, we have different branches of government, but right now we have one opportunity to shoot the gap and get this done. And so we have to stay on message right now with the MAGA, America First, Trump Republican agenda, and full stop. We don't have any other time to waste right now, or we're going to run out of time on this kickoff. So real quick, we're going to shift, and we got some great questions about hotels and that sort of thing. Those are very important questions. We'll get to those. So thanks for everybody jumping on. This is the moment where we shift the conversation to how we can all get in the fight. Because look, I'm just one person. I look at myself as a public servant, as a servant leader, and somebody that just musters those patriots together and is really an organizing principle, and use this whatever you call it, this platform to really get everybody on mission to push back against the slide that America was on, and we've got to then pull it back, like I said. So we got some cool apps. We have Commander Furman app. You can go into the Play Store, you can go into the iTunes Store and download Commander Furman app. Please do. And see what we're all about. We're going to start pushing updates there. We just turned that back on for this thing, for this last push here. As you can imagine, it's kind of expensive to do these apps, but it's important. Bolted onto that, and in addition to, we have our volunteer app, and that's it's a block walking, it's a door knocking, and really, really cool, it's a relational friend texting app. And so once you get signed on with us to join this ship, we will push those apps to you. All we need are your emails in here. Drop them in the chat on the stream. Drop them in the message section on the Zoom, wherever you're listening right now. Drop in your email and let us know that you want to be part of that. And we will push those things to you, those links, and then you can get signed up. And then you don't even have to leave your couch. The coolest thing is you can help us out the most by sitting there on this app and doing your thing on it 15 minutes a day. And that will have massive waterfall effects. We start now, we're going to push hard in this next 20 days. And this group is going to build. This is the first day we're doing this. We expect absolutely this to multiply 10x on a regular basis. And that really will happen with you guys giving us your emails and getting on these two simple, free, non-intrusive Patriot apps. These are not going to steal information. These aren't working for the other side. No one's getting your stuff except for this campaign. And we're absolutely you're very trustworthy with that. There's nothing I hate more than the Fourth Amendment issues we're facing right now. Rachel will tell you it's a daily almost withheld curse word, most of the time withheld when we talk about the intrusion of our privacy. The Fourth Amendment has been just shattered in really the Patriot Act era. We're going to dial that back too. There's so much talk about that we can work on together, but we have to do it together. and this is how we're going to do it. This can be the groundswell, the center of gravity.
Some of the comments I've seen, people are bummed because you don't live in our district, but fear not. You absolutely can help us if you don't live in this district. You can support Jay from near and far. Yes, we'd love it if we get to meet you face to face. You could come to one of our upcoming events. You can meet us at one of Jay's forums. You can catch him out in public when he's out, doing his meet and greets. There's several different ways. So just because you don't live in 35 does not mean. We have a lot of people who, really were disappointed that we weren't in 28. And, while we continue to fight for the border, and yes, Henry, you're absolutely accurate. Jay is really, really strong on immigration enforcement. That fight continues from District 35. So I saw a comment from 21. If you're in 21, absolutely, those districts are close by. So to that.
Yeah, and whether you door knock or you make phone calls or you just send text to friends, and we've got a whole system to just make that really easy. All of that helps from wherever you are. We've got a system ready to go to take this by storm, and we're not going to stop there. This campaign, and this has been the theme all the way throughout, is about doing and not talking. We are about doing border security and mass deportation, and we've got actually solutions for that you can be part of and be mainline. Be one of the mainline ships in helping do that from 35, from 20, wherever you are. But from this movement, we've got solutions to help our communities, to help ourselves, because we don't believe in general government assistance, a bunch of birds in the nest with their beaks up waiting for the big worm from, Mother Goose or whatever. We believe in helping communities in the way that it was designed, the way our Constitution was designed to be a bottom-up thing. And we also have ways to secure our vote. I don't know if I just got done with an election challenge in 28. Well, I'm not finished. It's actually still pending in Congress right now, but we didn't let the cheat lie in 28. We got cheated 6 ways from Sunday in Laredo. We contested that election and we held it to them. We have an 8-point petition that has them dead to rights. But unfortunately, the corruption doesn't stop in Laredo, Texas. It takes a stop in Austin, and it takes a hard stop in DC. So we're absolutely going to continue on the election integrity drum. And a lot of what we did in the challenge of 28 actually made the state of Texas, sit up and pay attention. And so, that was very exciting.
Civil asset forfeiture. He's asking about what do you think about civil asset forfeiture?
Okay, but we'll get to the questions next time. You add a little more inflection on that question. If we're talking about, are we talking about IRS? Are we talking about when we took Russia's assets early in Ukraine? Give me a little more flesh on that bone.
Thank you for the emails. Everybody, by all means, you can share your email with us, and we will get you on our list. Again, go to commanderfurman.com. Let us know you want to volunteer there. You can find the Commander Furman app as well on the App Store. And, one of our field managers is here, so he can reach out to you directly as well. Just let us know, raise your hand, or send your email, and the best way to reach out to you.
Right. Send your emails in. Okay. So now we're going to shift into, we're going to channel in the Tim and Cesario show, and they're going to walk through what we're going to do. So if you want to help us out, stay tuned. We got about 5 more minutes. Hold on. I promise tomorrow this will be shorter. We really don't want to waste people's time. And then we're going to get to the meat and bones of how we're all going to help save our ship.
Okay, great. So for all the live streamers here, you can join us on Zoom and we can get you a link. I've got most of your emails. If we haven't collected your email, just let us know. But we'd like to see you over on that Zoom because that's where the boots hit the ground.
Rachel, can you put up the Zoom link in the message chat?
Yes, I can. I sure can.
For the streamers, thanks.
And to pivot on the discussion, we have a very great app called Numenar. And Frankie Flores, thank you. We just sent you an invitation. So look for an email at contact@numenar.com. Set a password and download the Numenar account. As Commander Furman mentioned,
Okay.
Okay, so I guess we were talking at a mute. Sorry about that. So any last saved rounds? This is meant to be a town hall. Anybody sitting on something, a burning question, and then with that, we'll sign off. Yeah, okay. All right, we talked about that. That's good. I feel like we addressed that already.
Steve. Oh, okay. He's Steve's circling back around to his question about civil asset forfeiture. Do you want to spend some time addressing that? We were talking about stuff that's campaign related on the Zoom. That's why it's important you guys have the Zoom link, but here we are back again. That's why the audio was off.
Okay. If Steve's talking about civil asset forfeiture insofar as IRS seizures or a criminal charge, if that's what we're talking about, I generally am immune to or have an allergic reaction to government taking private property. I have a severe problem with that. Happens all too often, has happened through history. Is law enforcement or other political officials have really been predatory on the public and use the excuses of things that really are low threshold to take people's assets, land even. Texas has a really bad history of taking land, and I'd say we predated on a lot of folks that were, let's just say, less informed. And I think that it's a travesty. It happens on the border, happened and still happens, actually, I know, on the border or in the border counties a lot. And it's terrible. Sheriff sales sometimes can actually just be just land grabs, Sheriff of Nottingham style, if you will. So I hope that answers your question, Frank. If that didn't scratch the itch, please let me know. And you can DM and message us as well. The campaign's telephone number is 210-701-1097. Please give us a holler or DM us on our socials. So that's all I've got. Thanks for sending in all those emails, and we'll get you going and invite your friends to come and volunteer. That's really the point of this, and check in every day. And we've got some exciting things for them. We have a private volunteer group, and that we'll put you in, and we're going to take this district by storm, and we're going to take back our nation. It's Commander Jay Furman, Congressional District 35, the Alamo. God bless.